Alright, it's super weird for me to be doing a video, but I literally just got home from this situation and I need to talk it out. So I was at Hakata Station today to hang out in Japan. I'm waiting on my Korean teaching visa, which I'm picking up tomorrow. And so my plan for today was go to Hakata, travel around Hakata, and then leave back home from Hakata. And this is important later. So I stay there at the station for a little bit. There's a shopping mall, I buy a shirt, and then I decide to go to one of the shrines. And it's like 10-15 minute walk. So I start walking there, and then as I'm walking somewhere in between, a clear like businessman in a suit shirt and pants, stops me and just says, "Oh, you're very cute." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." I've been told randomly, "Oh, you're pretty" or "You're cute," and then they, leave me alone usually. But then he asked how old I was. And this should have been a red flag question. And normally for me, it's a red flag question. But I'm in Japan, so I'm like, I don't know if that's a normal thing people are interested in. Because I've been in Korea and people have asked out of curiosity and being like, "Oh, you didn't look that age," or "Oh, you do look that age." So I say 20, which is not how old I am. But I am a bit thrown off by the question. And thinking back now, I should have said like 19 because I'm pretty sure the legal age is 20. And so if I said 19, I might have been able to miss this whole situation. Maybe, I don't know. And the guy was weird, so it might have happened anyway. Anyway, so then he uses his translate. He speaks a little bit of English, uses his translate to do the rest. So asked me a couple more questions. And it's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to a shrine." And he says, "Which shrine?" So I show him which shrine. And he's like, "Oh," yeah, he translates like, "Do you want to go?" And I say yes. And I think he's gonna, I thought he was gonna be like, "Okay, bye, whatever," and let me leave. And then he's like, "Well, I just got off work, so let's go." And I'm like, I have no excuses to get out of this situation. Because I'm going to the shrine anyway. I can't be like, "Oh, meeting someone," like I'm clearly by myself too. So he walks me there and I'm like, okay, well maybe it'll be, maybe he just has some free time, doesn't have anything to do, and it'll be nice to just have someone in Japan kind of show me how to properly go to a shrine. Like I had to Google all the instructions before I left my hotel. And so we get to the shrine and he shows me around and everything, shows me how to do a couple things. And then we go to the donation thing. He gives me 10 yen, which is like 10 cents US, a little less than that. But he does it so quickly that I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." It's not that much money. I still feel uncomfortable every time someone gives me money. But I'm like, it's just for donating. It's only 10. That's fine. And then, he showed me how to pray, did that. Then we went to the little wishes place, and he put 100 in, which is a little less than $1. Which again, I was not super comfortable with. But also he took one too, so it was supposed to be 100 each, and we just both took one. So I was like, okay, that's less bad, at least. There's no way I could fish out 100 naturally after he had already paid for it. And then so then after that he's like, "Okay, what is your plan now?" And I really didn't have one. I'm like, I don't know. And I was like, I was just gonna go hang out in Hakata Station pretty much. And so he's like, "Oh, do you drink coffee?" And I'm like, "No, I really don't." So no. And then he keeps laughing and being like, "Cute, cute." And then starts patting my head. And it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what's okay. It's very weird. I every time I'd pull my head away a little bit. But he just found that funny. And then he was like, "Okay, do you want to go back to Hakata?" And I was like, "Yes, I should just go back. I should just leave, go home, honestly, because I need to shrine's done. I don't really want to hang out with him more." He asked me to dinner while we were at the shrine, and I was like, I gotta wake up early to go back to the consulate tomorrow morning, which is not true at all. I actually can't even go until at least 1:30, but he doesn't know that, thank God. So I'm like, oh yeah, I have to wake up so early, so I need to get home early. I don't want to be out late. And this was like at somewhere like 4:30. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to be home by like 6, 7, thinking the shrine would take a while. So then we're walking back to the station, and we get to this one intersection, and he's like, oh, there's a shopping area here. So I'm like, cool, maybe I can go to the shopping area, and hopefully I'll get bored and leave. But then what happens, he's like, oh, and there's a hotel. And that's like massive red flag. Like, don't start bringing up a hotel as we're walking, especially because then it's like, oh, it's so hot, like I need to shower, let's go to the hotel and so I can shower. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go there. And he's like, oh, no, it's not for you, it's for me, just 30 minutes. And he keeps trying to talk me into it. I was like, no, I want to go to the shopping center. Like, we're at this intersection, one way is the hotel, one way is the shopping center. Like, I want to go to the shopping center, you can go if you want, you can, I'll wait at the shopping center for you, like, as if. But I was like, I'll just wait there, and then you go shower off or whatever, and but I'm not going. And he kept being like, yes, go. And I kept saying no. And he then at one point grabs my arm and tries to physically force me to go to the hotel. Now, this is where I have to thank my mother for giving me ridiculously strong arms, because I didn't move an inch. This guy is also the same height, if not a little bit shorter than me, so he didn't intimidate me physically, which worked in my favor at least. Like, I knew I was not gonna be at risk physically for the most part. Also, we're in public, the whole time there's a lot of people around, so there's there's only so much he can do at that point. And so I keep saying no, and I won't move. And so finally, like, I just start crossing to the shopping center when the next time the light goes on green. And he crosses too, and he's like, okay, whatever, sorry. And then, like, there was like at one point when we were walking too, that he's like, oh, you must think I'm crazy, he's like, I am a little crazy. I'm like, who says that? Another point when we were walking, he's like I told him I had a boyfriend, like, he asked, and I told him. And he's like, oh, I have a girlfriend actually, but she also has a boyfriend. So I'm like, okay, red flag. He's okay with the, like, outside of the dating, like, cheating stuff. Because the guy doesn't know, apparently. But he knows about the other guy. And then he, like, asked me this, like, translated this one question. He's like, have you ever, blah, blah, blah. The last word didn't translate right, but I'm guessing it was, have you ever, like, had an out-of-relationship affair, basically. I was like, no. So yeah, bunch of red flags, bad. And I had to figure out how to get away from him. And he was not letting me out of the sight. He was staying very, very close to me, kept patting me on the head, tried to, like, hold my hands a few times, but I just kept, like, making up shit for why I couldn't do it. Like, I was, like, holding my backpack up off my back, because I'm like, oh, I'm too hot, I gotta let some air through, I can't take your hand. He obviously knows I'm doing this on purpose, and so he just, like, laughs it off. And so we finally get to the shopping center, which is actually 10-13 minutes away from Hakata Station. And so I'm just walking through stores, trying to find, like, an opening to, like, cut line of sight and slip away. And this is hard because he's sticking to me like no other. Like, right next to me, I've tried to push through some people, see if they'll, like, hold him back a second, or if he'll wait a second to let people pass. He does not. He makes sure he slips in right behind me, like, not giving me any space at all. And so I am, like, trying, like, I'm not looking at anything, like, I'm gonna buy it. He keeps asking me, do you want stuff? I'm like, I'm not even registering what I'm looking at, because the entire time I'm like, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of the situation? How do I slip away? It's only so much I can do, because, again, I'm in Japan, and I don't know who can understand the words help if I start freaking out. And if I start freaking out, he's the one that can say whatever story he wants, because I can't defend myself. I can't, like, unless someone understands. And then I don't know how they'll react to the whole situation, if they'll help me or if they'll watch. And just, like, keep hands off the situation. So I know I need to slip away and just sneak out somehow and get some distance. And I'm like, I just need to break in distance, Then there was this one point where there was this like center atrium area, and you look down a couple floors and there's like kids playing in water. So I'm like, oh, I want to watch this. And I was thinking that I could take pictures, and then I could take a couple steps back while we're like both watching, pretending like I want to take a picture from a bit further away. And then, you know, while he's still looking, I can slip back into one of the store areas and get away. The problem that happened was when we went up to the railing, there was nothing behind me. Everyone was walking by, it was pretty empty. And this is something I feel really bad about still, but I didn't check behind me because I was just trying to, like, as smoothly as possible, just step back and get away. And at that moment, when I started taking a couple steps back, there was actually a man in a wheelchair that had come up behind me. And so I actually ran into the bottom of the wheelchair and almost fell. I did not fall on him, thank God. The man that was with him managed to catch me before I actually fell. And so I was like apologizing and stuff, and the guy was apologizing and everything. And this guy, then we're like watching again, and I'm like trying to take a couple steps back again. But because of what just happened, he sees me trying to take a couple steps back, and he starts like joking like, oh, let me like make sure there's no one behind you. So he jumps behind me really far, like as if he's guarding away people. So I'm like, I can't slip out like that again. So I have to figure out something else. And so we're walking through the mall again slowly, and I'm trying to think, you know. And I forgot another part. While we were in this mall too, twice he tried to kiss me. The first time I like hid my face and like was like, no. This was right outside. I was like, no. I hid it like don't try. And he stopped finally. But in the actual store, he like managed to kiss me on the cheek before I was like, no. And you know, he's like, could tell I was like unhappy about that, so he like was saying sorry, and that made him back off a little bit by me seeming like upset about it. But anyway, so I still need to figure out how to get away. We're still walking through this mall, and I'm thinking, okay, well, the one place that might be able to save me at this point is Hakata Station, which is still like 12 minutes away by walking. And I'm like, okay, maybe we'll just head there, and then, you know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people right now. It's, you know, nearing 5 o'clock, 5, 6, I don't remember exactly anymore. But it's nearing a time where there'd be a lot of people. So I'm like, maybe I could slip through the crowds there really fast and, you know, just go around a bunch. Hakata has a lot of shops too. I could slip into one of those. And so we're walking, and then we walk past an H&M. And he's like, oh, do you want to check out here? And I'm like, yeah, I do, because H&M I know has a lot of shelves and a lot of clothing stuck very close together that makes it really hard to walk side by side. It's like back and forth, and if there's people, it's even better. And so this is where I got really, really lucky. So what ended up happening is I'm going through some of the shelves, the sale racks, and I'm like kind of going very maze-like, and like, then there was like an escalator that cut through the two halves of the store. So I'm going through one half, and he gets a call. And because he's on a call, he's walking a little bit slower, still making sure to keep behind me. But I'm also like walking somewhat slowly at this point because I don't want to be suspicious. And then it gets to where I go towards the front of the store, and then I loop back and go around the escalators in the back. And so as I'm doing this, I pick up pace because it's, you know, oh, I've already looked at these racks. I don't need to slow down and look at them again. I just need to get to the other side. So I go kind of quickly. And then as I go around the escalator, I peek back, and he's still on the other side watching me, like checking where I am, but like slowly walking toward where I am instead of keeping right next to me like he had been this whole time. And so I loop around behind some racks, and then I just make sure that he cannot see line of sight at all. You know, I walked a little bit further in to make sure that the racks were actually hitting the floor and he couldn't see my feet or anything. And then I just darted straight out the door. And then when I went out the door, I went back the way we had just come, because I didn't want to go forward in case he thought, oh, maybe she's running to the station. So I doubled back, and then I went down 2 floors immediately as soon as I saw an escalator. And then once I went down, I went into a kind of back corner of a store into a bathroom that wouldn't be that well traveled. And so I waited in the bathroom for like 20 minutes, being like, you know, I'm sure he won't be able to locate me. This mall is really huge, but just in case. And so now I'm worried because I still have to go to Hakata. And so if he can't find me in the store, he might think that he might be able to run into me on the way to the station or at the station, because that's where I was planning on going. Start at Hakata, leave, come back. And so I'm like, you know, if I go there, he could see me down the street when there's less people. You know, I'm wearing a very identifiable shirt. I had like my hair in like 2 little buns that was pretty noticeable from far away, you know, even if he couldn't see my face. And so I search Google. I'm like, maybe I'll be lucky and there's not a station nearby. You know, even if it's not on the line I need, I can just take a connection. It's worth it. So I search, and I'm so lucky to find out that there's actually a station really, really close to where I am, on the same line, just 1 station over, and it's in the opposite direction. So I say, okay, I can now go out the opposite way, which is not the way he would think I was going, because he just knows I'm going to Hakata. He doesn't know where my hotel is. He doesn't know what line I'm taking or anything. And so the only way he would run into me is if, for some reason, he gave up and decided to go home and then decided to take that station as well. But I waited in the bathroom 20 minutes for this. And so then I went out, and I was like really anxious, because you know how sometimes the second floor areas can look down onto the basement floor? That was the situation. So I'm like, what if he's looking over the edge? You know, I'm still wearing this identifiable shirt. I go out the back doorway, and then I realize I just bought a shirt today. And so I slip this thing on. It's like a nice little, very white, not very noticeable shirt. Because again, this is, you know, pretty noticeable from a distance. And I take my hair down, and I had my hair in like 2 buns, so my hair looked insane crazy, but at least I looked different. And so from behind, at least, I wouldn't be so easily identifiable. So I start walking toward the station I need. I didn't walk in a direct line either. I like took a bit of a further way around, which kind of ended up being a bit of like a half a box, just to not take the direct route in case he was taking that route as well, you know, in case he gave up and was going to the nearest station. So then I finally got to the station, and I was like, okay, all I have to do is be on the station, or be on the train, get back to my hotel. And that's what I finally managed to do. And so I finally managed to get out of that situation. You know, he was with me for well over an hour. I was hiding in the bathroom for 20 minutes. And now I'm finally back home. I have one more, mostly a day here, and I'm kind of like nervous to even go out, because I'm like, what if on the crazy chance I happen to run into him, he's gonna know that I like ran the fuck away. So that's pretty crazy. Full day 1 in Japan.